Something interesting about Eliphas Levi. Someone said that, and it's true, that Levi really didn't have a new concept with the astral light because there was already the anima mundi and the spiritus mundi, which in classical magic you would draw down. It's what united all things. It's really interesting. Yes, the anima mundi. But what's interesting about Levi is he blends mysticism and magic. His idea of mastering the passions, mastering the elementary forces, mastering our passions, our reason, mastering our concupiscible and irascible appetites type of thing. That liberation of the true will, liberation of the will from our passions, our desires. This idea of identifying with the divine spark at the core of our being, the liberated will. It's very interesting that this gives us power of the astral light by resisting its attractions. That the philosopher mage, that the more we elevate and become evolved spiritually, the more powerful we become. It kind of, in a way, it is different, but it reminds me of this idea of obtaining siddhis or powers as you advance in the path of yoga. It's an interesting concept. And I don't consider myself an expert on classical magic or really any of this. I'm a seeker with a camera, as I always say. However, I listen to information by those that I do know that know more than me. I heard an interesting talk by Stephen Skinner, and he points out, which my researches have shown to be true, there's very little mysticism in the grimoires. The grimoires are full of things like finding lost treasure, or love, or luck, or gambling, or all kinds of things like that, right? You see very little mysticism. In the Renaissance, you'd go to the church for something like that. Or maybe you did have people getting into the Kabbalah, like Pico della Mirandola and all of that. But you don't see a lot of mysticism in the grimoires. So you have the mysteries and then the grimoires. And if I remember correctly, Stephen Skinner was talking about like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, like combine these into a type of philosopher, a mystical magus, like basically a Rosicrucian magician. And really we'd have to go back before the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn to Eliphas Levi, and of course we have earlier things as well. But Levi was very important. Eliphas Levi is the first writer to ascribe the Hebrew letters to the tarot. He did it in a different way in his books, whether that be a blind or whether he just had a different system, which would later be followed by Papu, Gerard on Cos, all of that. It's just an interesting idea. Yes, they had the anima mundi, they had what we would call the astral light and classical magic. But Eliphas Levi really drove home this idea of combining alchemy and Kabbalah and all of this mystical stuff with magic. And it's really interesting. He looks at mythologies and religious systems, whether it be the Hindu, the pagan Greek, or the Christian, all of these as allegories of powers that are harnessed by the initiate. It's very interesting. He seemed to have this idea of like the perennial philosophy, and like there's like this universal teaching, but it is an interesting concept that whatever culture you're in, you're going to see the same truth. If truth is, then whether you're in India as a Hindu, or whether you're a Carmelite nun, or whether you're in China, whatever culture you're raised in, whatever religious tradition, it is possible that people may be experiencing the same thing and interpreting it in a different way. What some would consider theosis, union with the divine, others may call nirvana, And by the way, Eliphas Levi hints at things like kundalini and like energies in the body, and it's really interesting. The emblems in Transcendental Magic, or Doctrine and Ritual of High Magic by Eliphas Levi, written 1854 to 1856, this French occultist, the emblems and symbols such as Baphomet hold deep meanings. They're things to contemplate, these images. So I think it's a very important work, Eliphas Levi's Doctrine and Ritual of High Magic, or also called Transcendental Magic by Eliphas Levi, this French occultist of the 19th century. It's a very important work, and it's really, really interesting, and I think it's important. And it's a book of pictures and emblems to contemplate. It's not a book you just read through. It's not a novel. Eliphas Levi, it's good to really read the chapters and reread them and reread them, which is what I've been doing. So hopefully working through this text could be informative and help people to understand a little bit and appreciate this very important French occultist of the 19th century. So in these videos that I make, we go through Agrippa, we go through classical magic, and then we start working through the modern, I'd consider 19th century modern occultism. And we're looking back a little bit before the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. I think probably a big influence on the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. We're not going to go into cipher manuscripts here, but yeah, Eliphas Levi was very important. And it's interesting that Crowley thought he was a reincarnation of Levi. But anyway, so this is my, I guess, personal vlog, but I put information on here. It's not really like a big informative video, but this is just sharing my thoughts tonight, so I'll consider this part of my vlog. So I really appreciate y'all for watching my videos, and I appreciate y'all for taking part. It really means a lot. It means I'm not just talking to the wall, someone listens, and hopefully these videos will help someone, because we're all pulling each other up, and that's the key. So thank you for joining me, and stay tuned. I'll see y'all in the next video. Hope everyone's having a great day. See y'all in the next video. Thank you so much. And right when I go to hit the button, okay, there we go. All right, have a great day, y'all. Thank you.